talk to me about your thoughts around how you see inbound, outbound, midbound, all the different sources, and some, yeah, I guess your philosophy on aligning them all.
Yes, this is a great topic. So when you think about inbound and outbound, you even got partner, right? You got some other go-to-market kind of initiatives. I like to think about this in the concept. There's like two core concepts. One is what we call pipeline sources. So it's kind of shifting your mindset to a similar to like all bound approach, but it's a little bit more granular and kind of can walk through that. So essentially, pipeline sources are all the main ways that you can capture demand in your company. And these distinct pipeline sources will have different, often like significantly different, like dynamics in terms of like sales velocity and other sales performance metrics. So instead of, I would say like the old way was kind of really department focused, inbound marketing, outbound sales, and maybe you have partner or like an affiliate channel or, big bucket that you're looking at. That also drives how you do budgeting as well. So you would have like your marketing budget, you would have your sales budget, maybe like a, whatever other
Sales
partner
development
budget.
budget, partner budget,
Yes. Yeah. And then
swag budget.
underneath those, yeah, trade show booth budget, who knows? But underneath those larger buckets, then you've got, okay, what types of marketing kind of budgets, what types of sales budgets, all from like resources to like variable expenses to even tools and technology that kind of fuel up into that. And, I'm very much in the belief that the buyer journey and how people buy today is not linear. And so having these things very siloed and very, department focused doesn't really serve the organization and actually causes a lot of potential misalignment. And instead, I recommend to shift your mindset to more of how is the buyer coming in and engaging with the company when they are ready to buy. And when you look at it through that, it's really focused on the intent of the buyer or buying group and how they entered the pipeline, which is a much better predictor of sales metrics. So, win rates, time to close, even just like behavior of like how they want to be sold to or how they want to engage with the sales process. And ultimately, what we found is kind of a better revenue performance metric. And so when you combine everything, when you combine these intents together from inbound and outbound, it's really easy to look at things blended and you don't look at things in an efficient way. So when I talk about pipeline sources, some of the things that I'm talking about is I'll go through a couple just to kind of paint the picture for everybody here is looking at what we call pipe, but as your people coming to your website declaring intent, they are declaring intent to you that they want to talk to you or buy your product. So that's one pipeline source. You have cold outbound, right? So outbound that is typically driven from like purchasing contacts and literally just kind of going cold, reaching out to people through various channels, email, LinkedIn, what have you. We also have ABM or intent triggered outbound, which this is an example of kind of just ABM in general. It's like there's a data trigger of some sort. Usually that's triggered by a technology, which then one team is trying to get that intent to trigger. And then the other team is once that intent triggers, then the sales team steps in and says, okay, now I'm going to go outbound. Has different dynamics, has different sales velocity is there. And then you have things like lead gen, events and field, and then partner. And those are kind of like the core larger ones. I mean, sure, you might have some other pipeline sources in your business, but that's really how I like to look at the funnel is through a pipeline source. Then you can see how are buyers converting through your funnel when they're ready to convert through those sources versus only looking at inbound versus outbound.